So I thought I'd make this video and share a little bit about some of the swords I think that everyone should own, and a little bit of the philosophy behind it. We got a few firearms laid out here on the table. We got a Glock 19X and 9mm, as well as this is actually a Glock 20 Gen 4, and this is actually in 10mm. This is actually the largest Glock which Glock makes. Fantastic firearm, and yes, all these firearms are unloaded, so got that out of the way. A little bit about the reason why I'm doing this video is because I think there's a lot of people out there who maybe don't quite understand firearms, and I used to be one of those people. I used to have a whole lot of questions. I mean, I was literally that guy, and don't laugh, but I even thought, you know, because I'd seen so many movies and TV shows. I mean, here I'd grown up my whole life with using shotguns and little 22 rifles, but for some reason, I don't know what it was, especially about a handgun, I thought that it was really hard to not only own one, but also thought that, like, you had a lot more rounds than they actually carry. I mean, you see like movies, especially old 80s, 90s movies, the dude's just like shooting at a perp, and next thing you know, I mean, the dude shot like 100 rounds without one single mag change, and it's just kind of ridiculous. But I thought I could make this video, and I'm gonna kind of like a caveat, I'm gonna say, you know, the two swords I think every Israelite should own. Clearly I got 3 on the table, but I will say this as an added bonus, because really the point is you basically need, I think everyone should have one of these and one of these, but the bonus also to that, and probably the most important, is the sword of God, the Word of God. That you need to know that in and out, write it on your heart. But, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have those, but I think that people need to not only become intimate with that word, but also intimate with these firearms and these types of systems and types of firearms, and get proficient at it and be safe with it. I think about what Jesus said. He says, you know, sell thy cloak and buy a sword, right? And he told his disciples, and say, you know, Master, here are 2. You know, who knows what they were pointing at, but I really think that they were pointing at a Bible, or like, not a Bible, they have a Bible, but maybe like a scroll of the Torah and an actual sword. And he's like, that's enough. You know, just something to kind of think about. But the modern day sword, so if we're gonna take Jesus's words to heart here, because he knows, he says, you shall be hated for my name's sake, right? So we know that, especially us men, it's our job, it's our duty to protect our families and our loved ones, and these are some of the best ways to do it. This is what you would consider the modern day sword. So let's get right on into it. First of all, I think everybody should own one of these. You can, you know, whatever caliber you choose. I like, for self-defense, I really like 9mm. I think it's a great caliber. This particular firearm has 17 rounds for its magazine, and I always also am a huge advocate of putting some kind of weapon light on any of your firearms, because you need to be able to, you know, accurately identify whatever the threat is. You don't want to hear something go bump in the night and accidentally shoot, you know, Granny in the kitchen, you know. So that's a worst case scenario. This is a good one. I like it because Glock actually made night sights on these. These actually have tritium inserts, and so they glow in the dark, which is really cool. This is just a little O light. I think it's like 600 lumens, and I think it'll run for about an hour. But it's cool because you can get these on Amazon and they're fairly inexpensive, anywhere between $60 to $80, and they'll fit on a whole plethora of firearms in their front rail. You have a little rail underneath here on these particular, these are Glocks. So yeah, I think that's definitely something to consider. Now, like I said, for defense against two-legged predators, bipedal predators, so aka humans, someone trying to steal your child in the parking lot at the Walmart, or someone breaking into your home in the middle of the night, I do like 9mm, but I also, for home invasion, as long as you live somewhere where you don't have a whole lot of people next to you, or you don't live in an apartment complex, you don't have thin walls, because trust me, even a 9mm is going to go straight through your walls, because all it is just some sheetrock, and it'll have no trouble getting through that. It might, if it hits a few studs or something, stop, but 9mm, even 10mm, and especially an AR-15, which is in 5.56 or 223, that's going to go right through some walls. So always make sure you know what's behind your threat. Identify the threat. Make sure you know what's behind the threat. At least train and take precautions to do so. So anyways, that's good for your two-legged animals. This right here, oh, and I just want to say, kind of start off here, get this out of the way, I never advocate violence. This is a last resort, okay? This is like your life is on the line, someone you love's on the line, or even a stranger's life's on the line, and you need to take matters into your own hands, because when seconds count, the cops are minutes away. The average time for a cop, I think, in Denver is like 10 to 15 minutes for them to get to your home. And so you just think about that. If you're locked way up in a closet somewhere and someone's broken into your house, it's just a matter of time till they get to you as well. Anyway, so this is 10mm, holds 15 rounds plus one, and I really, really enjoy this firearm, because you can actually look into this. The guides in Alaska, this is actually what they carry as their sidearm. Now they're going to use a rifle, something like a big 45-70 lever action or something like that. But for even grizzly bear protection, they're carrying 10mm, because you have, again, 15 plus one, and if you get the right loads with this gun, you actually can look into this. You're going to be pushing about 600, 700 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle. And now, just to bring that into perspective, a 9mm, you're only going to get around 300 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle. But if you were to use something like a 10mm, again, you're going to be getting almost double that, or a little bit over. And if you use the right rounds, such as heavy cast lead bullets, or Underwood has some great offerings in Lehigh Defense and what's called the Extreme Penetrator. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think I have some right here. Let me grab those. Stand by. Yeah, these bad boys. So, let me take one out. Here you have, what that is that's a solid copper projectile, and actually it's made to over-penetrate. It's made to go through all kinds of barriers. This will go through windshields. This will go through car doors like butter. This will go through a bear skull. And, the argument is, if you have something, why not just get a revolver and 44 Magnum? Well, that's great, but you might only have 5, 6 shots. And personally, if I'm being charged by a grizzly bear, just a fun fact, there ain't no man in North America that can run faster than a grizzly bear. Maybe there's some Olympic athletes out there, I don't know, but they can run really fast. I think they can, as far as predators go in North America, they're one of the fastest predators, if not the fastest predator. So that's something to keep in mind. And if you're panicking, you're scared, you're terrified, because here you have If it's a grizzly, you got a bear anywhere between 800 to 1,000-pound bear, charging at you. Yeah, I want to have as many chances as possible to put rounds on target, because you can practice all day at a shooting range at static targets, but having something that moves, that can, swerve, that can turn on a dime is totally different than just shooting at a piece of paper that you put, 25 yards or whatever, 5-7 yards in front of you. So the more rounds you can have, the better, because they've even done studies on like pepper spray, and there's all kinds of people. There's just a guy not too long ago in Montana who was attacked by a sow grizzly bear. That's a female grizzly bear that had cubs, and there's nothing more dangerous than I don't know if she might have been actually a black bear, but anyways, she was about 500 pounds, and there's nothing more dangerous than the female whenever they have cubs, because they're extremely aggressive, and anything that any step towards them or towards their cubs they perceive as a threat, and they will just demolish you. They'll chew your head off. So that guy actually let loose a can of pepper spray, but she kept coming, and I think he was like a park ranger or something, and he didn't have a firearm on him at the time. I think he said he usually does, but he didn't. But he still maced her pretty good. She got maced in the face, right? And she came up on him like a freight train, and she just started dominating. He got down in the fetal position and with his hands over the back of his neck, and she was still, trying to kill him. Well, he gets up, she leaves him, 'cause I guess she thought he was dead, and he went the opposite direction. He was like, hightailing it back to his truck, and she actually ended up going and double backing around a mountain ridge and caught him back on the trail again, and she attacked him a second time and about killed the man. Again, he had already, unloaded that can of pepper spray on her, but she was still coming for more. Well, he finally did get his truck. I mean, honestly, the man should have probably died, and she ended up leaving him alone again. But if he had been attacked probably a third time, I don't think he would have made it. And he even says that himself. So he's very cautious now about the woods and about how he, and here's a man who clearly was talented and knew what to do in those situations, because he was able to get out with his life. He did get in the right position, but it would have been better if he had something like this, and he could have maybe put her down, put a stop to her. Maybe she could have got a few whacks in, but if she's on top of him and he had one of these, could have blown her brains out, hopefully. So it's important to have the right kind of ammo for that and keep that in mind. But this isn't as powerful as a .44 Magnum, but it's not necessarily as powerful as the .357 Magnum, but you can get some rounds that are almost just as powerful. And it is an actual 40 caliber round. The diameter is 40 caliber. So but that's just what you call a 10 millimeter. It's actually this actually came out before the 40 Smith & Wesson, and it's a lot more powerful than a 40 Smith & Wesson. 40 Smith & Wesson, you're getting around 400 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle, whereas this, again, the original loadings and what the gun's made for is around 600 foot-pounds of energy, all the way up to 700 and even greater, and that's a whole lot of stopping power. But there's lots of videos you can look into the 10 millimeter and its history, because it's kind of interesting. Lots of federal agencies were trying to adopt it, but they said that it was too snappy or powerful or something. I totally disagree, but that's neither here nor there. And then here's the last one. I think everybody should probably be familiar with one of these. These firearms are super simple to operate. Their controls, their ergonomics. You have, an adjustable, this is a shoulder stock right here. You can put whatever you want to on the top. I've got just a 1 to 4 power vortex on this guy. You can upgrade your charging handle to where you have like this one is an ambidextrous charging handle, so right-handed or left-handed. You have your safety controls, your fire controls. You have your, here, let me pull this bolt back. So unlock the bolt. You have your bolt release right here. All you gotta do is, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press this button, but I'm gonna do it from over here. So once you put a new magazine in, you press your bolt release, bam, that's gonna put a new round in the chamber. And all these guns are semi-automatic. Don't let the media scare you to the word automatic. No, it's semi-automatic. Every time you pull the trigger, you get bang. Now, that means that the bolt has to reset the trigger and then bang again, okay? So that's how it works. Now, if you had, actual rounds in here, every time you pull it, this bolt carrier right here would actually go back and then would come back again, pick up another round, put it in the chamber, and then you just fire again. Bang, 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 bang. And that's how that works. You can adopt a wide variety of front rails. Again, another weapon light on here. This is kind of an old school version of a front rail when they first started really kind of coming out on the market for this particular rifle. This is a quad rail. It's pretty heavy, honestly. I need to get a different one. And then that's just a fancy little doodad muzzle brake up there. But these are really great for for a lot of things. In some states you can actually hunt with an AR. I don't necessarily recommend it depending on what you're hunting, because the caliber is actually technically a 22 caliber, and I'm sure even if people have very little experience with firearms probably have shot 22 at the very least. But it's actually just a 22 that goes extremely, extremely fast, and so that's where you actually get the increased energy. But believe it or not, like a hunting rifle in 30-06 or 308 is an old bolt action. I mean, it's much more powerful than an AR-15 and 5.56. Contrary to what CNN or like the mass media is going to try and tell you. They're going to try and make you believe that it's just this evil, evil cartridge that can just do anything and stop everything. Well, that's not the case. Sit. Sorry, got my dog down here. But anyways, so this is great for multiple threats because you can have 30-round magazines, you can have even small 10-round magazines, you can have 20 rounds, you can have all the way up to like 50-round magazines and stuff. But 30-rounders, in my opinion, do just fine. And they're real easy to do a mag change. You just hit this little button right here, the magazine will pop out, and then you just slap a new one in, and you recharge the rifle, or like I showed earlier, you just hit that button again on the side, and you put a new round in the chamber, and away you go. So they're a lot of fun to practice with, they're a lot of fun to train with, and they're great for defending your castle, right? Another thing that's great about AR-15 is they're super easy to actually take apart. Not only can you open it up and clean it this way by just removing this pin, and the pin actually retains itself, which is really great, but also you can here, let me make sure I'm still in frame, press this pin right here as well, and then you actually have what's called your lower. This is the actual firearm itself, is this part, the lower, and now you have your upper. So you can field strip these rifles very easily. Just pull the charging handle out, your bolt carrier, and you can now you can swab your barrel. You can clean that guy, and that's what I love about these systems. You can buy extra parts for these guys. This is a little hard to do. Try and stay in frame. Yeah, you can find all kinds of extra parts for these guys for fairly cheap, and you can upgrade these rifles. You can actually even, what am I doing? I've never had to do this before on camera. So what you can also do is, again, this is the barrel with the gas system and with the bolt carrier, but this is the actual firearm itself. So what you can do is you can buy one of these, and let's say you want to get a different cartridge. Let's say you want to shoot your 5.56 sometimes, and you want to use that for, again, possible self-defense, defending your home, or a truck gun or whatever. But let's say you want to get a 300 blackout, which is a different round, but it will still fit in this magazine well. You still just use regular AR-15 mags, and you can just get a different upper and slap this on here, and then you actually have basically 2 rifles in one. So you just had, and this is the thing that actually has to go to the gun dealer, because this is the actual firearm. This is the thing that actually has the serial number, and so that's what our government, deems the firearm. Anyways, there's one last thing I wanted to share with you guys. These rifles can still be had, like an AR-15. You can still get pretty decent AR-15 anywhere. You can build your own for around $400, $500, and on up. The sky's the limit depending on your financial situation, but you can start out seriously around $400 and build one of these guys, and that's not really that hard to do. You just buy the lower and the upper, and then you literally just slap them together. Or you can even purchase an already built one, depending on the manufacturer, anywhere again from 500, 600, 700 on up, into the thousands. But you can get good rifles. I think I seriously bought this gun for like $600, and this was the Smith & Wesson M&P Sport, M&P 15 Sport, the first generation, which they're on the second one now, and there's a whole lot of criticism that maybe that the first generation was actually the better one. Okay, and also, if you're like, well, hey, I can't necessarily afford, $500, $600 Glock as well. That's okay though, I've got you covered. So as you can see in probably a lot of my videos, in the background I have a lot of what's called military surplus firearms, and I'm a big fan of those because of their history. They're cool, they're fun to shoot, they're interesting. Everyone, none are alike. They're all different in some way, some fashion or form. But this right here is a great example. This is actually a military surplus gun. However, it does not qualify under the Curios and Relics license. That's a whole nother story and video, but it's basically a license that anyone can own as long as you don't have a felony on your record, or as long as you don't have a misdemeanor for, like, I believe it's, assault, or not assault, what is it? I can't remember. It has to do something like, you're yelling at your wife or whatever. So as long as you don't have that, but you can, with the Curios and Relics license, a lot of the firearms that you'll see that are military surplus, you can actually have them shipped directly to your door. Now, all those things are still tracked. You still have to record them. So for all those people who are anti-gunners out there, don't get scared. But anyways, this is a great option. This is actually a 9mm version of a 1911. This is called the Star Model, I believe this is Star Model BM is what it's called, and it actually, I think it holds 7 to 8 rounds. It's a great little gun. It's actually, you can get these still around at the time of this video. This is what, August 2019. You can still get these for around $200, $250, all kinds of websites online. It's the Spanish Star Model BM, and really a honestly very surprisingly accurate. I shot a steel target offhand, just standing literally with one hand at, I believe it was anywhere, it was about 75 yards, and I hit that steel target. It was like a little 12-inch by 24-inch or whatever it is steel target, but I couldn't believe that I hit that with this. You'd be hard-pressed to make a shot like that with a handgun. Oh, that's another point before I forget. A great saying is never bring a handgun to a rifle fight. So always remember that. With an AR-15, if you are skilled, You can make shots out to 400, and the military, actually in the Marine Corps, they have to be able to shoot accurately on a man-sized steel target out to, or a man-sized target out to 600 yards. And they do it with iron sights, actually, not even with a magnifying optic. But with like a handgun, I mean, really, maybe your max effectiveness, I would never try and really rely on a handgun at 100 yards even. I wouldn't even want to rely on one at 50 or greater. I mean, really, your max effective distance is like 25 yards. That's not that far. For those of you who want to do some math, that's, you know, whatever, 3 feet per yard, something like that. But this little, back to this gun, this is a great firearm because it's sturdy, it stood the test of time, it does have an actual safety on the side here, and so if you pull the trigger, you know, hammer's not going to fall. So you can carry this holstered with one actually in the chamber, with a round in the chamber, and when you pull it out, your manual of arms would be when you pull out of your holster to deactivate your safety and to let that hammer fall. So a great, affordable little, I don't even want to call it cheap, it's just very affordable firearm that is highly effective. And it's small. It's like a commando size, basically. Again, here's my Glock 19X, and you can see kind of where it compares in height, size, and weight. Might just have a little bit longer of a slide or barrel on there. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope that it's some way helped you. Hope it's hopefully shed some light on these items, and that hopefully if you did like it, you'll like the video and subscribe to the channel, please. I plan on doing a lot more videos like this. I want to do more videos about like actual military surplus firearms. I have a whole lot that we could do some videos on. We could do some fun shooting videos with those. I want to do more on even the modern firearms. I have a great video I'm going to be putting out that shows you one of the very important reasons that you need one of these, because actually I was just camping the other weekend and I had my whole camper attacked by I think it was a black bear. It was most likely definitely a bear, because it left me a little present behind my camper afterwards. But whatever it was huge, and it just absolutely destroyed my camper. And I plan on putting the video out with the footage, like the aftermath of what I came back to the campsite to. But if that bear had been there when I was there, I would have had this. I always have this on my in my holster on my side. Anytime I'm basically out camping by myself, I make sure that I'm walking around with my 10mm Glock 20. And I would recommend that anyone, especially if you have pets or if you have little kids or whatever, if you're living in an area, even if you don't live in an area that has a lot of bears or a lot of mountain lions, you still just need to be prepared just in case, because you're not going to, you know, the last thing I ever expected to happen was that a black bear was going to tear into my camper. And there wasn't even any food in there. All there was dog food. But I guess he wanted it because he got it and he ate it. So anyways, guys, again, this is Israelite Preparedness, and I hope this video has blessed you guys. And as always, graft into the house of Israel and not a religion. Thank you.